the unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma. In 100,000 million aeons, it's difficult to encounter. Now that I've come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true actual meaning. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Shenhua, O good new advisors, Amitofo. The last section we talked about the fruition of the leading the home life. Talked about the fruition of our hardship. This section is about the state of a sage. What do sages know that we don't? The Buddha said, those who have left the home life and become shramanas, cut off desire, renounce love and recognize the source of their minds, penetrate the Buddha's profound principles and awaken to the unconditioned Dharma. What kind of Dharmas do these people practice? First of all, they chose to lead the home life and become shramanas. Okay? And what did they do? What's their Dharma is about? The left home people's Dharma is they choose to cut off desire. Why? It simplifies their lives. They lead the home life because they chose a simpler life. Simple in terms of worldly pursuits. Okay? And that's why they choose to reduce a great number of desires. They don't drive around fancy cars. They don't change the wardrobe frequently. I remember when I was out there, every year you have to look at new wardrobe. Otherwise, people look at you and say, what kind of cheap person are you? Fashions change. Keep up with it. It turns out the last time I bought some clothes, I was in Taiwan, 6 to 7 years ago. I still wear the same clothes. My shoes been around for even longer than that. So we have a simpler lifestyle, and we choose to do away with a lot of desires. In particular, they renounce love. This is the Dharma of celibacy. Okay? Why? Because love is a source, is the ultimate reason for our revolving in the wheel. Love is the source of birth and death. And these shramanas are the people who chose the path of practice to end birth and death. Remember? That's the ultimate goal, is to end birth and death. Therefore, the practice, they get right to the heart of it. They said, renouncing love is the Dharma that we're going to practice. Because by renouncing love, we will plant the seeds to end birth and death. Is it better? Sound wise for you? It is? Not as straightforward as for you anymore. Okay. This is Mahayana, folks. This is how you recognize Mahayana. We're not going to tiptoe around the subject of love. Okay? Other branches of Buddhism may condone like marriages, like in some countries they allow monks, they call themselves monks, and they get married and they have children and they pass on the temples and their dynasty and their possessions, the wealth of their children. Okay, they create dynasties. They create even schools. They create even sects, Buddhist sects. Okay, where they actually practice a certain Buddhist dharma in these countries. And it's okay to have a wife or to have a husband and to get married and have children. That's hardly Mahayana, folks. It's not Mahayana. Okay. Yes. No. Monks are not supposed to have sex. Period. That's why they're supposed to have girlfriends. It's not supposed to have sex.
Talking about sexual love. It's all love that leads to attachment.
Yeah, basically when you become a monk or a nun, you renounce all kinds of love. Remember, the paragraph begins with lead the whole life. They cut off all kinds of love ties with the family already, meaning love for your children, love for your wife, love for your girlfriend, love for your boyfriend, love for your aunt. Okay? Cut it off.
How about the attachment to Buddha and the Shalom?
They don't love Buddhists. They don't live a home life because they love Buddhists. In some religions, for example, some of the practitioners, like I heard of a nun saying that she's married to God. Some of them say that. They believe in it. And we don't say that we married to one in Bodhisattva or we married to the Buddha. Even the Buddha's wife, when she became a nun, she's no longer the Buddha's wife. She's simply a nun. Even the Buddha's mother-in-law. No, not mother-in-law. Yeah, mother-in-law, because it's his mother's sister was also married to the pure rice king, and she took care of the Buddha. She actually was the Buddha's mother, in essence. She renounced her own son to take care of the Buddha. When she asked to become a nun, okay, she simply was a nun. It's no longer the Buddha's mother. What kind of nonsense is that? It's a Buddhist nonsense. It's a Buddhist dharma. That's what they practice. And that's what enables them to attain fruition quicker. Why should we renounce love? Because love is in the way. Because love creates selfishness, creates attachments. When you love someone, you become very attached to that person. Let's not talk even about sexual love. Let's talk about, let's say, children. You love children. Okay? That's an attachment to them. Okay, that's a very good question. In Mahayana, is compassion a part of love? In Mahayana, compassion is not love. But it is directly related to love. Because when you indulge in love, it's a manifestation of the self being attached. So attached to something. Okay? And therefore, it prevents you from reaching the state that's called great compassion. Because, for example, when you love, let's say, a child, your own children, okay? When you have to choose between your children and someone else's children, what do? No choice there. You choose your children, right? So you choose your children over others' children, right? What compassion is there in that? See, love binds us and constrains us. And that's why these people, these Shramanas, when they shave their head and adorn their left home frock, the practices Dharma enables them to understand great compassion. Great compassion is, quote, love for everyone. There's no distinction between your children or somebody else's. What about filial piety? That's, what about it? Yeah, it's attachment to your parents. Okay? So what about it?
It's a form of love.
It's a form of love. So what do? You shave your head, you say, I don't love you anymore. I'm renouncing my parent of love. What nonsense is that? And you know what? The funny thing, it's a very good question. Excellent question. So I've been preaching about filial piety, right? And what kind of Dharma is this? One day I teach about filial piety, next day I say renounce it. It turns out, when you shave your head and become a left home person, it's the ultimate form of filial piety. The ultimate. Of all the filial practices, none exceeds shaving head. I don't understand it either, so for me, I can only repeat to you what I'm taught. Yeah. It turns out that when he wanted to shave his head, leave the home life, what did his mother say? She said, no, don't leave yet. You're my only child. I can't live without you. So what did he do? He stayed home. According to the tradition, the Chinese tradition, you don't leave the home life until your parents okayed it. So he did that. And then he waited until his mother died. It's not like he said, oh God, oh Buddha, make her die quicker. Because I want to be your level disciple. No, when his mother died, Venerable Shenhua went and sought out the best medicine he could find. Okay? You read his biography, you find out he went to great lengths to do that. Okay? And I brought her back and tried his best to help her. And then when she died, he practiced filial piety according to the Chinese tradition by staying by her grave for 3 years. Okay? And then during that time, by her graveside, he left home life. He became a monk then, after his mother died. Okay? So Venerable Shenhua, in a way, practiced it really to the best possible way. But in Mahayana, to lead the home life is the highest form of filial practice, actually. Because he said, when a person enters away, 9 generations of the ancestors are reborn to the heavens. 9 generations, meaning your parents, your grandparents, your great-great-great-grandparents, your great-great, so on, 9 levels up, will be reborn in the heavens. That's the kind of blessings you generate for your parents. Yes?
And also opens up, when you attachment, it opens up the compassion for everything, which...
Good point. This person understands here. After you sever love for your parents, does it mean you renounce it? No. You say, I'm renouncing the love, the selfish love for my parents, not the great love for all my parents. Is the distinction clear in your mind? You're simply renouncing selfish love. You're not renouncing the great, non-unselfish love for all your parents. And the unselfish love is great compassion. Does it make sense to you now? A little bit. Right?
So if your parents never want you to leave the home life?
In the Chinese tradition or Indian tradition, if your parents refuse to let you leave the home life, you can't leave the home life. See, that's the beauty of the Dharma right there. That is practiced by Venerable Shen Huang. His mother didn't want him to become a monk. She wanted him by her side. So what did he do? He went by her wishes. He stayed with her. Didn't get married, didn't do anything. Stayed by her side until she died. That's the best form of filial piety right there. Even though he knew that he wanted to leave the home life, even though he knew that leaving the home life is best for his parents. Okay? What does it mean? 9 generations are reborn in the heavens. What does it mean? Do you believe that? Does that mean that if you leave your home life right now, that means your parents are automatically reborn in the heavens? What do you think?
No.
You're right. No. What that means, this is my interpretation, what it means is that you are creating merit virtues that enables your parents, your ancestors of 9 generations, to have the blessings to be reborn in the heavens. Okay? Meaning they have a ticket to be reborn there sometimes. It doesn't mean it's automatic. I need to caution you on that. Alright? But your act as an individual leading the whole life is that meritorious towards your ancestors.
So the time you have to see, is that for your current existence? So you...
9 generations from your current existence, yes.
Because in your previous existence you had a different 9 generations.
Yeah, you probably have 9 different ancestors. Now you have 9 more different sets of ancestors. Each time you're reborn, you have a different, hopefully, normally you have a different set of ancestors. Alright? So every time you leave a home life, you're creating affinities for 9 different set of ancestors to have those kind of blessings. Alright? Now, let me turn the question around. What about the people who are reborn, who do not wish to become a monk or a nun? And yet, you look at them, you find out that their sexual desire, their love, the sexual love, is not as strong in them. Okay? Is the question clear? Is the question clear? What I'm asking about clear? Suppose you encounter a person who said, how many girlfriends do you have? I don't have any girlfriends. How many boyfriends do you have? I don't have any boyfriends. You gonna get married? I have no interest. Somehow they're not interested in the opposite sex, or they're not pursuing sex, actively pursuing sex, or sexual love, or love. Why is that? Why? It's hormones. Something's wrong with the hormones is one possible explanation. Because, come on, let's face it, what else is there? It can move mountains.
Sexual love is just passing on genes, so the sexual desire is supposed to be.
It's a primal urge, man. What are you talking about?
Humanity, yeah.
Just tell me you see a lady walk by, a playmate walk by, and you're not moved. Then I say you're a liar. Okay? Or Chippendale's dancer for you on this side. Okay? Glistening in oil. These sculpted bodies. Okay? Tell me that it doesn't make you mind move. Okay? Come on. That's the primal urge in us. Now, how come in some of us we have such low levels of desire? Why? Do you know why? Besides hormones, besides anomalies in our makeup, what else is there? Barring anomalies. Most likely in previous life, they were level people. Didn't make the statehood, but they have a flavor of an existence with minimal desire. And they chose to investigate living and renouncing love. And they liked it.
So we brought scientific studies to show that it's genetic and it's...
You could find that. It's probably nonsense.
That's what it's in the books.
Yeah, it's nonsense. But yeah, it's nonsense. It's no, the realm of scientific knowledge is still too limited for them to see beyond that. They only see one generation. What I'm saying is that maybe 100 lifetimes ago, they became a nun. Now they're reborn as a man. And they like it. You know, the seeds are there. The seeds mature. I'm talking about cause and effect here, which is a broader time slice than that scientific study. All right?
And the thing with the rhesus monkey study, where they took the rhesus monkey away from the touch it at all, and that rhesus monkey
Hearing what?
didn't want to be, was not affectionate, could not be with them.
No, that's another thing. That's another thing. That's different. There's many reasons. I'm saying one potential reason is that when you have this lifetime, don't think that lifestyle of these monks are too drastic. Okay? I'm trying to point out to you that it has its own form of pleasure, its own form of advantages. And these people who lived long enough, I'm merely suggesting to you that When you encounter a nun or monk, and you find out they've been living that lifestyle for some extended period of time, okay? Chances are that they have planted seeds in them that will minimize love and desire in the future lifetimes.
So past bad experience or
No, that has nothing to do with no, not at all, not at all. That's only one instance versus a primal urge to be loved or to love. That's our primal urge. Okay?
If you've been a left-home person before, would you be likely to be one again? I mean, is that
No, no,
that is-
not there. Not even there. Everything has to be cause and effect. You have left home person before, and you say, I like this lifestyle, and you say, okay, and then you die. That's it. There's no continuation. But on the other hand, you left home person, you say, I like this lifestyle. I haven't got very far yet. I haven't got as far as I like. And I think it's a lot more for me on this path here. I like to, the next chance around, to pursue this path further. And what happens? You're planting the seeds of a future lifetime to pick it up where you left off. You have to generate that seed. I can't.
That's why I asked the question. You told us in Chan that you planted the seeds to do something in a later life, or they were planted before, is maybe the reason you're here now.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
this.
For example, Chan, if you didn't plant the seeds to learn Chan, and in particular, the two things that happen in Chan class, you have to realize. Number one, you have enough blessings. You made offerings to Mahayana in the past. In particular, not any kind of Mahayana. My Mahayana. My Mahayana is a subset of Venerable Shenhua's Mahayana. Okay? We have a network here. So you plant the seeds, you made offerings to Mahayana. Okay? When you made offerings to Venerable Shenhua's Mahayana, you made offerings just like you're making offerings to me. Because I'm only a subset of this. Alright? And because I'm only teaching what I know, what I learned from him. Primarily what I learned, what I know is from him. From what he taught me. And the other thing is that you also planted the seeds. You also wanted to learn Chan from me as well. It's not a mere lifetime, folks. Because let me assure you, for you to be able to learn Chan from me is very difficult. Extremely difficult. Look at how many of you are out there. You look at, for example, the people who have been practicing Chan for all their lifetime. Compare to your state, your achievement. What's the difference? You have a teacher, they don't. That's the only difference. Okay? Any other questions?
So, in subset of Mahayana, there is no possibility of love and ultimate compassion.
Not the kind of love you know of. Not the kind of worldly love we're talking about. Because worldly love is selfishness. If you can have enough wisdom to take out the selfishness part of the love as you know right now, then that is part of great compassion. That's the beauty of that renouncing love aspect of the Shramana's Dharma that you don't have. Alright? It's not the only way, by the way. Okay? But there is very direct. They said, okay, I choose to take out a lot of stuff that will make me, to slow me down on my practice. And that falls in the realm of love. Love for your children, love for your spouse, love for your parents, love all those things. Because all those really, when you think about it, are selfishness.
Not attachment, and compassion.
Describe unconditional love for me, please. The unconditional love that I hear so often from those people's mouths usually come from the people who are the most selfish. That's a hint to you. When you hear anyone mention unconditional love out there, look at them closely. You find out that they're all so selfish. They're so attached to what? One thing you see right away is what? They're so attached to themselves. They're so attached to being able to express their love their way. Isn't that true?
Expecting a return.
But only. That's words. We're talking about these people say, I love you unconditionally. What they really are saying is that I'd like to love you the way I like to love you. And no one's going to stop me from doing that. Not you, not the Buddha, not God, not anyone else. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I mean, specifically, like,
Absolutely, that's rather strong.
well, when you go and state it as that example, yeah, but let's say you had to choose, between your child and another child,
Yes.
and does that mean while you still love your child, but you don't choose your child? Is that?
No. Is it? What do you think?
You love them, and you love them unconditionally, regardless of the choices you're going to make.
Okay, let's backtrack. Let's face it. Okay, what are we trained to do? We are trained in the West to take care of family. Family comes first, right? Take care of your family. Love your children. Love your spouse. That's our system. That's our value system. Nothing wrong with that. So far, what everything I mentioned so far, does it mean that, am I saying all those things are bad? What do you think? Come on, be honest. Somebody must feel that, yes. No? Are you honest enough to tell me, if you're honest, you have enough guts to look at me in the face and you speak nonsense? I don't believe it. Okay, now. Okay, there's a fine distinction. This is why this sutra is so interesting to me, because this is where even a lot of people who try to explain this sutra get in trouble. Last week they would get in trouble because they talk about living a home life nonsense. Now we're talking about renouncing love nonsense. Okay? It is nonsense if you don't understand love. What the Dharma is pointing out to you is that the love that you value so much, you cherish so much, okay, has a lot of selfishness at its core. Okay? It's you. Primarily, I like you, just look even your own daughter, okay? When she's cute, the example of that famous actor, what's his name again, who's married to the blonde in back, Alec Baldwin. There you go. Thank you. What did she say to his daughter? Like, I wish you'd die or something, or a 13-year-old, 11-year-old. I'm sure that when she was 5 and 6, he'd love her to death. She could do nothing wrong, right? As soon as she's at the point, reaches the point where she can speak her mind and want to live life her own way, it goes against his will. There's something about her he doesn't like that offends him. That love changes, doesn't it? Is it still unconditional, folks? So that love, has it evolved since between her young years and when she's older now, last year? He still feels that he loves her, right? But every year has made the love the way he wants to love her. To be able to love her. If he cannot love her the way he wants to love her, then it's not the same anymore.
Well, and again, those are all very good examples of how love can be limited.
Can be what?
Limited.
Yes. No.
But
it's about selfishness. It's about we projecting ourselves on others.
Well, I'm sure it can be, right? What I'm asking is as Mahayana is so vast, that in his vastness of Mahayana, is there not a path or a situation where there is love and ultimate compassion?
Absolutely.
When a mother gives a child or childbirth, is that not for the betterment of the child? Doesn't she feel that child will be?
Well, it's biological first, because if she doesn't give birth, she's gonna die. I'm kidding. Let me put your mind at peace. Okay. Now that I've agitated you, I give you the answer. See, you have to be honest with me. You have the right to be honest. If I challenge you by talking about nonsense like this, you have the right to tell me I don't believe you. That's being honest. If you are able to do that, I feel sorry for you. Okay? You just say, no. You simply look at me and say, I don't understand. This is nonsense to me. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that? You a monk, I'm a regular person. I don't know what you're talking about. This is important to me. Huh? Loving my child is important to me. Loving my wife is important to me. What are you talking about? Okay? Nothing wrong with that. What I'm telling you is that if Mahayana is about if you can look at your wife and love your wife, and then you look at the next person and say, I love you equally as I love my wife, then you made it. With your wife, yeah.
I don't like that. In the worldly sense, I don't like that. But in your time,
That's true. So how can you do that? It's such an honest response right there. I don't know. It's nonsense. How can you love two women the same way, or a woman or a man? What kind of pervert are you? Okay? How can you do that? You can't. Right? You're gonna die. If you if one spouse is enough to make you die, if you have 2 women, 2 wives, or 3 wives, 4 wives, you're gonna die a lot quicker. So they're gonna kill you.
That's for sure.
Okay? So how can you love 4 women at the same time?
It's not possible.
It's not possible unless you take down sexual love. Does it make sense to you now? Why these people do this? They say because this is a bad practice, because it enables them to look at everyone equally.
And if that seed that was planted in the former life, then it should be.
Because it enables them now when they approach you, they look at you. When you interact with them, we're talking about Dharma here. There are 2 levels we're talking about. One is the Dharma they practice, and number 2 is the level of attainment. Okay? Let's not talk about attainment yet. I'm only talking about the Dharma. Alright? Let's say this person, you go to a monk, and you talk to a monk. You know, this monk here has renounced love. Therefore, you know that he's not going to approach you with any sexual ulterior or sexual motive behind it. Same thing when you talk to the next woman. Okay? This takes a lot of confusion out of the equation, doesn't it? In a relationship. It takes a lot of confusion from your spouse's mind as well, doesn't it? But at least it should. Until there are reasons for that to change. Right? So we're talking about wiping off a lot of unknown in the Dharma that we interact together. Okay? Question?
So no, I disagree.
You what?
I disagree.
Okay.
I mean, everyone says, no, you can't love, 2 women or 2 people at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, love, again, love is an attachment. I believe, in the concept of you need to not have the attachment. But, and you can interpret it and say, well, if you can love without attachment, that is ultimate compassion. You could choose to go and live with that. But I'm not saying, I believe that in terms of renouncing love simplifies the problem that you have to deal with.
That enables you eventually to reach a state of great compassion.
Well,
Quicker.
Right. It's an expedient to go and get there quicker.
Yes.
But but to go and, but I do not agree with the statement that you cannot love multiple people.
Are you a Mormon?
Not yet, but considering Buddhism, I might consider that too.
You're not going to get away with it.
No, you need to.
They're not yet.
No, I agree. It is an expedient. I agree that it is a simplified path to go and achieve that. I don't agree with the statement that you cannot love more than one person. More than again.
In what way?
What's the definition of love?
Careful now. Careful. This is recorded.
I don't just, I can't, again, I don't have, I'm not talking about sex. I'm not, and I'm not even talking about, I asked you the question back when we were in the child class. Well, where do you stop? Right? You have your kids, you have your parents. Well, what about your aunts? What about your grandparents?
Yeah.
What about their kids?
Yeah.
Where do you stop?
Where do you stop?
I don't.
You don't stop?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't say I do it well.
Uh-huh.
I never claimed to be able to do it well.
Uh-huh.
But the concept of being able to, doing it.
Yeah. It's important to you.
But if you don't start, you don't have to draw the line.
Yeah, you have a question here, Ken?
There's just a schism here between the Greek definitions of love
Western philosophy, there is amorous love, which would be compassion. That's not necessarily directed. I think it's more a matter of semantics than it's a matter.
Yeah. Anyone wants to comment on that?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's a good point.
Agree? Agree?
I
Okay.
think a lot.
What are you doing here?
Huh?
What are you doing here?
What am I doing here?
Yeah.
I'm
Learning about Eastern definition of love,
correct.
right?
But what I believe is that the concept is human. It's not a matter of Eastern and Western. It's how we describe it and develop it.
Okay.
And
Which part of it do you have a problem with?
I really don't have a problem. I sort of look at it.
See, that's why it's very important when you talk about Dharma that the love thing is it's a kind of worms, because love in the West is itself so vague.
It's abused.
You know,
Okay.
and there's a part of it that is basically animal and instinctual, that the attractions.
That's what we call sexual. Okay, sexual desire. Okay, it's called love. You call it love. It's still there. It's called sexual love.
But then there's generosity, generosity, charitable.
Okay, that is okay. You take that Western definition of charity or compassion. Okay, what I'm simply pointing out to you in Mahayana, that still has a domain, right? It has, for example, I'm charitable to people who believe in me only. I'm charitable to humans only. I don't mind killing ants. You get in the way. Okay? So it still has its range, its domain.
Right.
Mahayana's compassion is still there. So in Mahayana, we call great compassion is that it's everything, all living beings.
And look at it.
Yeah, so it's still humans only.
In Buddhism, you go
All living beings. That's called great compassion.
and it seems like in Islam it's just those who adhere to Islam.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like how tightly do you
Now,
define the world?
let's backtrack. That doesn't matter. Definition doesn't matter. Okay. The question is, how far can you understand? How far can you reach? How far can you see the stars? Okay. What's your realm? What's your domain? Okay. That's now we're talking about the level of practice, your attainment. Okay. You at your level are simply God and goddesses. You can see so far. Okay? You're learning about things you don't understand. Okay? So the Dharma is about, just like when you first came to the Jhana class some time back, you were taught to cross your legs. Sheer nonsense. Back then, right? What's this thing about pain in the legs and facing the pain? That's stupidity when you ask me. And yet, if you practice it long enough, you went beyond that initial resistance, then you got to where you are today. Okay? So, the things that are beyond your understanding, you need to have liberal faith. If you do it long enough, eventually you understand yourself. That to me, personally, is the beauty of Mahayana. Mahayana is so vast. It doesn't require you to understand right away. It says there's a range of understanding here. Where are you? If this is what you are today, okay, there's different dharmas that are not necessarily for you right now. All right? What we are describing tonight is a dharma that's certainly not for you. Why are we talking about it tonight then? Because that's what Mahayana is about. We talk about nonsense that you don't understand. Why? Because I want you to plant seeds that in the future they will enable you to understand. Because if you only want to listen to the things that you understand, you approve of, you don't need to come to Mahayana. We are expanding our domain here by going to unknown territories that will offend you. And it's okay to be offended and say, I'm offended by this. Because when you do that, it gives me a chance to tell you that, to clarify why this Dharma is spoken. Because let me tell you folks, that great compassion is a form of non-selfish love. This is the ultimate form of love. I can tell you that if at some point down the road, when you're able to love your wife the same way you can love the next woman and the next woman and the next woman, you reach the ultimate form of love. And you cannot get there unless you take out the sex part of it. You can't. Because the sex part is selfishness. Yes.
So even if you take out the sex, there could still be that selfishness. You don't have sex with both of them. There could still be that problem of
Still wanting to.
one's greater than the other.
Yes.
One does something better. One even has better conversation.
Not only that, but also you have to deal with the fact that what about how they perceive you? You have to deal with that problem as well. It's not only you now. Now you have to balance your attention between two, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 or 10. Right? You don't love me as much as you love her. Because I only see you once in 7 days. Okay? There's always that will get in the way.
That's their karma. Your love without attachment does not mean that they don't have attachment. But I believe that love can exist without attachment.
Absolutely. But let me ask you this. Okay, don't be so selfish. Again, see, you being so self-centered. I'm merely pointing out to you, what about the other side of the equation? Think about it. If let's say your wife is used to your personal attention, okay? She sleeps with you every night on the same bed. Let's say now you have another woman in the household, a threesome. Wow, so many. Oh, I love these lectures. He talks about threesomes. Okay, now, boys, don't get too excited. But the threesome turns out to be purely platonic. Platonic. No sex at all. Okay? Are you still with me here? Okay? So, we're not talking about sexual love here, right? We're still able to love 2 other women, let's say, or 2 other men. Don't take it literally, okay? We're talking about threesome. Now, even without sex in the equation, but you still have to share a bed with someone at night, right? Don't you? Doesn't it in itself cause a problem? Because it says, I feel lonely tonight. Why can't you be with me for once? I really need you tonight. But according to the schedule, it's her turn or his turn. You have to take all those into the equation and say, all these are still based on what? Selfishness. Okay? As long as selfishness somewhere on either side of the equation, you're going to have a headache. It ain't going to work.
But again,
Sexual love is like tango. It takes two. You can't say, I can live with you, I can marry you, and I won't have sex with you. What about your husband? He has needs too.
you limit the conversation to that concept. I'm saying, I believe you can love multiple people.
I mean, you want to have sex with everyone?
I didn't say anything about sex. I already said you.
What about sex?
I've already said love with God.
Okay, so we're talking about platonic relationship, no sex, right? Are we talking about kissing? See how detailed I have to get?
Hello, goodbye.
As a form of
Expression of love?
As an expression of appreciation of sharing my life with you. Yeah.
Okay, now when you kiss, you know what happens?
Where you want? So do we want to get into the detail of what kind of kiss it is? I mean, we can go on forever. You can come up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know why? You know why? Because we have to be realistic.
Right.
Okay? When you talk about kissing here, we talk about sexual arousal. You see, I trapped you already. You got trapped.
And touch.
You don't know the extent of what you're talking about. That's my point. You can't say I can love someone without sex, and then you allow kissing involved.
Even the stroking of
That itself is confusion in your mind. You don't have a clear picture of what you're talking about.
But he's saying that none of that's going to be in the picture. He can still love.
He doesn't know it yet. You see, that only tonight he found out that even the kissing part arouses sexual desire.
even touch.
Yes. Thank you. You see, all these are traps. Okay? That you have to define the love or the lack of sex there, the sexual relationship, very precisely. And my point is that you don't know what it is you're talking about. And that's normal. Why? That's why we're here. To discuss things that you don't know about. And unless you try it, you won't know. Okay? Because unless you begin to walk down the hallway, you're not going to find out what's ahead. What's behind the doors. Okay?
Why does the Dharma keep using the two words?
What two words?
Well, Ken brought it up, the love and desire. It keeps saying love and desire. You see it written.
Love, usually love refers to sexual love. Desire is broader.
Just there, and desire is everything else that you would get attached to.
Yeah, love is a strong form of desire.
Yeah.
At the center of which is center of love is sexual love. But it could be love for it means very strong emotional attachment. Desire is a higher level. Desire for a car, desire for food, desire for all those things can be a higher level of attachment. Love is much deeper, much harder to get rid of. But they work hand in hand though, folks. This is the beauty of the Dharma right here. It points out things to you to see what are the pitfalls that make us derail in our practice. Yes?
I've been taught that there is a greeting that occurs between
Yeah.
love and even a kiss,
Mm-hmm.
but have no sexual mean wrong.
Do you believe that?
Yes, I do. I've practiced it all my life, and I'm on groups regularly.
Have you asked the people who you hug if they will turn on at all? Have you ever asked? You never asked, have you? Okay. What I'm trying to tell you is that I don't believe it. Just because you don't, nothing ever happened to you, doesn't mean that the person you hugged and kissed felt nothing.
Well, let me say this. From my side of the fence,
Yeah,
there is no such.
that's fine. I believe that. But the other side, I don't believe it. Yeah, you're going to find her at the shopping center hugging everyone.
I wouldn't ask.
And ask him, do you feel anything? Yeah. And be careful who you ask, okay? Because you may not get the honest answer either.
But it really, for me, it's
Don't go there.
been taught
No. They are precursors. Like in a courtship, for example. You ask a lady, for example, what they like about courtship, and you will correct me on that because I'm speaking from the outside, okay? The attention, the wine, the service at the restaurants, the nonsense you tell them, the flatteries, the lies, okay? All those are precursors. It's just like an appetizer for them. And if you don't have the right appetizers, you can't make progress. Am I correct?
Yes.
How brutal. Okay? What I'm trying to tell you is that the ultimate sexual act is preceded by preparation time. Alright? Preparation time is called desire. Does it help clarify things for you? It helps drive a nice car. It helps to bring her back to your flat where you have nice furniture, nice stereo, nice music.
No, I disagree. You're going after very materialistic people. There is another side of people who appreciate seeing the sunset with a
Okay.
person they like.
Thank you.
Getting up early.
Thank you. Thank you.
Being beside
Thank you.
family.
But what are they? What are they still?
Still the same thing.
What are they?
They're-
The sunsets. What are they?
It's beauty.
It's beauty. What is beauty?
An attachment.
Oh, gee.
I think this is where we're going to get. This is as far as you can get tonight. Love and desire. We still have a lot of problems here.
It's very easy and it's an attachment.
Into the play.
You're taking it, Janine, you're taking my examples literally.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're wrong. What I meant by that is you need to warm it up before you can bring it to a boil. Okay? However you warm it up, I don't care. You use gas, you use electric, you use coal. That's besides the point.
Something you guys have.
And if it doesn't work out, you suffer.
But you see, that's precisely the point. That's precisely the point, folks. Okay, boys, you have to listen carefully. Some of them you have to use gas. Some of them, you have to use electricity. Okay? That's the way it works. That's life.
Or summer sunsets.
Some of them are turned off by apartments and penthouses. Did you hear that? He said pain enhances, pain does it for them. Okay, so different strokes for different folks. That's all right. Do we still need to elaborate on love and desire tonight? Is there anything about love and sex that you don't know, or you still want to understand? Let me rephrase it that way. See? Thank you. All of a sudden, no. Who are you to tell me? Not in front of my wife.
It's such a deep emotional pit that you're talking about.
Precisely. That's the beauty of Mahayana right there.
I find it hard to believe, grown up as a Westerner all these many years I have, that if I were to become, even years ago, a left-home person, that I might have been able to get rid, might not have been able to get rid of it, feel that.
You probably would have failed.
Okay.
You would probably have failed. You think it's easy to be able to look at love and say, I'm going to fight you.
Why I don't, if you're doing that, just...
What dharma do you have, let me ask you, to fight that? See, that's the third aspect I haven't mentioned yet. Because we're still so stuck on details and definitions.
How would you come?
There is a dharma behind this, folks. Just because you don't understand, you struggle so much, doesn't mean that there's no hope. Of course there is. That's what Mahayana is about. You have to separate between the fact that if you don't understand, ask, but do not reject. You should ask and say, I'm not sure I understand tonight. Okay? Because I still have this thing in front of my eyes. I can't let go of. I can't let go of the sunset. Okay? I don't care what you tell me. But there's a dharma behind renouncing love. Otherwise, most people would fail miserably. And most of them do.
What's the dharma?
It's not meant to be transmitted to you tonight. You're not a shamana. You're not a person who says, I want to choose this path. I want to cut off desire. I want to renounce love. And I want to be able to recognize the source of my mind. You haven't planted a seed yet. And you're asking me to teach you? You ask what you are asking for right now, from where you're sitting from. You want me to teach you about your dharmas, not my dharmas. Isn't that right?
So yes.
That's what you really ultimately want. Teach me about me. That's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm telling you, that there's the dharma behind this as well. That enable the people who walk that path to be able to have a chance to experience what it is, will bring them eventually to great compassion. Which is, this dharma is beyond this class. Alright? Part of it, yes. You see, and that part I can't explain to you. That's a very, very perceptive observation. Part of Dharma has to do with our precepts. And I cannot explain precepts to you until you decide to take them. As one of the reasons. Alright?
Is this a Buddhist philosophy? and peace, being able to love everything.
The great compassion is a Mahayana concept. It's a Mahayana state that that people have certified to, and there's a dharma to get there. All right. No, it's not that. Yeah, the thing is that, can you talk about it? You see, you jump the gun again. Ask. See, I'm sorry if it may offend you, but you're not going to be offended by this. But the normal people would be offended by that because you jumped the gun right there. You could have said, you could have asked, can you explain it? Instead of asking, can you explain great compassion, Dharma, to me? You jump the gun and say, hey, you're not going to explain it to me either. You see the kind of mindset? That's an attachment.
I didn't mean to say that.
It's an attachment right there. That unless you have a teacher, you're going to keep on doing that time and time again. That's why you need a teacher. Yes. Any questions? Somebody finally asked. Great compassion is being the same substance with all living beings. It's called great compassion. Does it make sense to you? When you get there, why? When you get there, you'll be able to love everyone equally. That's the only way. Good one. Yes.
And I found that
Because what happens, how is that? Because right now, and this is, I want you to be very clear about it. We work by stages. There's nothing wrong with saying, I have compassion for human beings only. Nothing wrong with that. I applaud that. If you say that, I say, kudos for you. I'm so happy for you. I have compassion for my kind only. If you are a deer, you only have compassion for deers, and you hate humans, I applaud that. Because your domain is so big already. And Mahayana is about making you aware of the fact that there's something called human realm, something called a God's realm, that you can get there. Once you get there, I want you to look down and say something called the Asura realm, something called the ghost realm, who are much less fortunate than you. Okay? And I want you to be aware of them and maybe bring forth the heart to say, maybe someday I'll be able to help them. All right? So what are you doing? You're beginning to expand your domain bit by bit. You're unfolding it. You're expanding it. That's the Dharma of Mahayana. How else are you going to get there? You're not going to get there by sitting here and debating about love and lack of sex and all that kind of thing. All those are intellectual discussions. Okay? Because you can talk about it and it's not going to do much good until you do it, until you walk, until you cross your legs and you face all this gunk in your head that compels you to quit. That is real to me. That's reality. And that is true beauty, if you ask me. Because the sunset is still outside of you. Okay? It's temporary.
But you can bring it in, and it's in your mind from then on.
No.
The sunset.
No. It's only an image.
Right, right.
It's only image you brought in. It's not reality. You see, you're only saving a shadow. You're saving a file on the computer. And you can bring up and look at it again. Be careful about this. Okay? Beauty to me manifests itself in what you do with yourself.
Vows that comes up in the reading, and Venerable Master Shenron took it as well as vow to not reach Buddhahood until I've taken across all.
Yeah.
And there's a number of vows like that. There are 12 or 15 vows, or how many vows it is. And most all of them are so difficult, it sounds like you would never be able to achieve those. And therefore couldn't reach Buddha. That seems like it's in that.
Okay. Yeah. No. It's you don't understand those vows. Vows are different dharma that different ball of wax. Can I take a rain check on that tonight? Okay.
Of course,
It's way too complicated. It's a lot deeper dharma, and I'm willing to go into. I promise you, you ask again down the road when we go into vow, for example, and we can go to that. Don't have any vows here, but let me go back to the definition of great compassion for you, so that you understand. To be of the same substance as everyone else is great compassion. You look at it closely, it's the ultimate love. Think about it. Ultimate love. You cannot love anyone more than you can love yourself. Isn't that right? Even right now, where you are sitting, how can you love anyone more than you love yourself? Are you going to try to convince me of that? Is anyone going to try to convince me that he or she loves someone else more than he or him or herself? And I'm telling you, in Mahayana, there's a dharma that brings the great compassion, because that's the ultimate form of love that we don't call love. Why? Because love is a vastly abused and misunderstood word.
Soldier that will lay down his life for his country is that really love himself?
Does he have a choice? I'm sorry for being flippant.
Unless they're,
Sometimes they don't have a choice. Sometimes the soldiers lay down their lives, make a sacrifice because they happen to be there.
So is that intent that?
Not always.
Some go to Canada.
It's possible. It's possible when given the choice to lay down their lives for the country and voluntarily, happily, that happens. Okay? But that is still a narrow form of love, because you love one country over another. You love America over Iraq. It's still selfishness
What
involved.
about a stranger who jumps in from lake to save a child that's not his and drowns to himself?
Yeah? Is it love or what?
No, that's compassion.
Yeah, that's compassion, right?
He had no connection
Right.
with that child,
Right.
and he gave his life to save that child.
But did he intend that?
No, that's a personal choice. So it's a good act. It's a wonderful act. Okay? To be applauded. Okay? But that's still one person. You ask me. I want to ask you, up the ante on you. Are you willing to give your life for not only for one child, but 2, 3, 4? What's your limit? Stop me. 5, 6? Do I backtrack? 4? See? You have limitations.
So giving your life is the only way.
That partially answers your question.
Giving your life is the only way to have great compassion.
No, that's a good question.
What is not?
It's merely, the question is meant to point out to you, you still have boundaries, don't you? You still have limitations.
Everything is.
I only give my life for my country. I only take care of my children. I only take care of my spouse. I only take care of the people I love. I only take care of people I know. I only take care of my neighbors. I only take care of my teacher. Only take care of blah, blah, blah. We still form boundaries behind the equation. Okay? Mahayana, remove the boundaries. That's beauty. Right there. The beauty in the ability to see no boundaries. The sunset is still bounded. You got that? Still bounded. One moment in time, one space, one place in your memory banks. Can you look at the sunset and then next look at a storm and still love it equally?
Stone?
Storm, a tornado.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's dramatic.
Okay, what is ugly to you?
Cockroach.
Huh? Cockroach. Okay, then if assuming it's a cockroach you hate, you look at cockroach and you don't hate the cockroach, and you see beauty in the cockroach, you love the cockroach as much as you love the next living being, then you got it. There's no boundaries. These are such good questions. I pointed out to you, okay, their range is not only in terms of domain, but also in terms of time and space. See, our thinking still has a lot of boundaries. Isn't that interesting, Mahayana? See, we define boundaries constantly. Tell me something I like. Tell me something I understand. Alright? Boundaries right off the bat.
Is the universe
No.
since it's infinite,
Universe, the Dharma realms is unbounded.
so it's all
Excuse me? It's your thinking mind that's bounded. See, all these such a wonderful questions. You have very good questions. I commend you on the quality of your questions tonight. I really do. I'm sure a lot of stuff is way over your head and mine, but that's what the lecture is about. We discuss things and explore space and time where no man has been before. Okay? We have to end it here tonight. We pick it up Saturday in a couple of days. If you're interested, there are material from 8 to 9, and then 9 to 11 we'll be doing every Saturday now. So every Saturday, yeah.
Starting this Saturday?
This Saturday. I'm way behind schedule
8 o'clock.
because you ask such good questions. Really?
8
Really?
o'clock.
Such good discussions. 8 for if you would like to practice the recitation Dharma. And 9 if you only are interested in the lecture. 9 to 11 for the lecture. You're going to do it for 2 hours now because it's an hour and a half. Way too short for us. Okay? Any questions? So from now on, every Saturday morning we have Dharma lectures. And then the next Thursday is off. And the following Thursday, the 30th, is our last Thursday here.
Wait. Saturday, your house?
Yeah. From now on, every Saturday is at
But next Thursday back here?
the 30th is the last one here.
No, not next Thursday.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We don't come this way.
Okay? So basically Saturdays. This is only one extra Thursday now on the 30th because we happen to have paid for it here.
So you're going to be doing it Saturday and Thursday?
No, Saturdays only, except for one Thursday.
Except for the 30th Thursday, that's it. That will be the last Thursday here. Starting from this coming Saturday,
But
we'll be at Master's house.
Saturday starting. So next week it's twice. This week it's twice.
Correct.
Is it this Saturday after tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but every Saturday now, from now on is Saturdays.
No. 2 Saturdays.
And
No Thursday next week.
you said they're going to do it Thursday, on the 30th. On the 30th. Just that.
I'll check the calendar for you.
Just that.
May his merits and virtues adorn the Buddha's fair land, repaying the 4 kinds of kindness above, paving the feeble path below. May those see and hear all bring forth the holy heart. And when this retribution body is done,